Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit. We are back to week 11, which is wild already. And if I sound stuffed up, everybody, just deal with me. It is allergy season in the Midwest.
Nice. In Latvia, it is freezing season. Like it is begun. It is the minuses outside. They've hit early. Autumn is over. But anyway, we carry on. It doesn't get as bad as it gets in Wisconsin, so I should stop complaining.
All I know is this is your type of weather right now, Maddie. Like I'm in hoodie and sweatpants, but you Brits would love this shit. Because I watch some Brit influencers, right? And they talk about like they didn't know that there was such thing as like snow thunder and different things like that. Like we have wild Midwest weather, and they didn't get it, man. They were in a whole new world.
I'd just leave all of that. Like everybody complains that the British Isles has the most miserable weather, but also we just have the most chill weather. Like
you have no extremes.
No one's dying of dehydration. We get all the seasons, so that's fun. We just get all the seasons in a day sometimes, which is also interesting. It's why we do get summer. It is summer. It's sunny outside.
The last time you had summer, buildings lit on fire.
British heat is silly because of like how hot, how the island is made up. But yes, you don't have people really dying of dehydration because it's too hot. You don't have any of that kind of stuff. There's not really any need for AC outside of 2 weeks out of the year. And then on the other side, I've had to buy a special coat to go outside in Riga during the winter. What the fuck is that about? Like a big ass coat. I have to wear like thermals because obviously in the States you can just drive everywhere when it's winter, so that's fine. But we still walk everywhere in Europe even when it's -20. So still freezing our asses off.
So North Face,
special stuff.
North Face, Columbia, one of you companies, we need a sponsorship. We're both in cold ass weather right now. Hit us up. That is great tailgating gear that we can promote for you.
Yeah, if Patagonia is out there, then I'm telling you what, like some Patagonia stuff, that'd look great.
You kind of get made fun of for that shit over here, but I get that it's warm. But for some reason, that's one of those brands where, like, if you wear it, it's one of those brands where people automatically think you're like some elite tool.
Yeah, like a bit of a posh cunt.
Yeah.
Like a bit of a posh cunt. Get it. Fine, whatever. I'm fine. It looks sick, so I'm good with that. I already have the accent to go with it, so that's fine. I may as well stick with posh.
It is a little coat, isn't it?
Talking of posh cunts, Jay, would you like to show off your new Politics Planet podcast for people to go and have a look at, so we can keep the politics?
Hello, and I agree. Ducks are cute. Big fan of ducks. And actually, there is this really cool channel on YouTube you should check out right now that does animal cams, and it's called Lunch with the Crows. Go check that out. It's pretty neat. I started a new platform. Go check it out. I don't want to drown this platform too much in it. Facebook is popping right now, though. YouTube's still building. Instagram. Facebook is popping. It's just called Planet Politics. Go over and check it out, and then you can feel for yourself if it's for you or not. Just for the record, I don't give a shit about either party. Just the problem is we all have to decide which party's closer to our beliefs out of two evil systems. All right, go ahead, guys. I don't want to get all political, and we're popping with viewers right now too, so I don't want to change this into something else. Like, let's get into some football.
Yeah, exactly.
Lunch with Crows. That's for everybody, and it's fun. Lunch with Crows, guys. Go check that out.
Yeah,
there was an eagle sighting. There was an eagle sighting up close on the camera. You got to see that. It was wild. Or I think it was a hawk. My bad, a hawk. But okay, go ahead. Go on.
But Jay, it was a crazy week in week 10, and even crazier has been the fallout to week 10. Jay, Brian Daboll has been fired. He's been sacked. Something that we've been talking about on this channel for a long time is Brian Daboll's job and whether he should still have it. Jay, what was the final nail in the coffin for Brian Daboll?
He's 20, 40, and 1. Like, I don't know if there's a better final nail in the coffin than 20, 40, and 1 as a head coach. Our argument is, we talked in the offseason, if you're bringing in a rookie quarterback, why are you keeping the same coach? Because we already knew what was going to happen. No matter if Jackson Dart is fucking amazing and he is so much fun to watch, he wasn't going to succeed enough with that team this year to save Daboll's job. So why are you making this kid go through now a midseason change and then a new coach after the year? I don't have a problem with them firing Daboll, but for Jackson Dart's sake, I might have waited till the end of the year, because dysfunctional teams do dysfunctional shit. And then you keep your GM, and it's like, what makes you think that this is the guy to lead the coaching process to hire a new head coach? This is the guy that got rid of Saquon Barkley. This is the guy who has spent tons of picks and money on your defense, and it's still terrible. Your offense, when healthy, looks like you may have something. You have Scattaboo. You have Neighbors. Jackson Dart looks like he can play in the NFL, or at least a lot of fun. So I think the problem was that you kept him, and then I think you just compounded the problem by firing him early. So I think they fucked this up on both ends.
Yeah, I agree. For me, though, the final nail in the coffin actually doesn't have anything to do with his record, because I'm not sure what the difference of, like, it should have done. Like, his record should have been good enough, and the way he coaches should have been good enough to fire him at the start of the season, because that's what we were going on about at the start of the season. Like, we agree with that. It's his final nail in the coffin wasn't that extra loss to the Bears. It was Jackson Dart's concussion. I said it in Jackson Dart's first game for the Giants. I said, why are they running him like this? He's going to get him hurt. This is why Brian Daboll is a terrible coach for the Giants and will lead to Brian Daboll losing his job. In his starts in the NFL, Jackson Dart has been sent to be viewed for concussion 4 times. He has missed other plays in his first game because of a concussion test. He's also had other concussion tests that we don't know about on the sidelines as well. He's been tested for concussion 4 times in his young NFL career. And it's because of the way Brian Daboll runs him. And look, now Jackson Dart is out for another game. And you saw the difference between Jackson Dart and Russell Wilson so much that it looks like Jameis Winston's starting for the Giants this week. Like, we saw that difference so much that's what they're going to. And because of the way that Brian Daboll is using Jackson Dart and using him as some sort of like power QB in the same way that they used Tim Tebow and the same way that he used Josh Allen when he was there, now they don't have Jackson Dart, who has been their spark. And I would get it if Jackson Dart also hadn't shown how good a pocket passer he is. Like, Jackson Dart can throw the ball. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do it that way. And it smacks of a lack of creativity from the guy who's meant to be this offensive mastermind. And for me, that was the final nail in the coffin for Brian Daboll. And they were right to fire him. And guys, if you think if you don't think that they were right to fire Brian Daboll, then let us know why in the comments. If you do, then also let us know in the comments. You can head straight to the comments as well. The other question for this, Jake, is will Brian Daboll get another job in the NFL? This will be his first job as head coach. Will he get another head coaching job, or will he go and be an offensive coordinator somewhere else in the NFL?
I don't know if he'll even be aligned right away to be an offensive coordinator. I mean, to be real, I do think he'll get another job. You always have offensive assistant advisors that they give these guys. Yeah. I think he's going to have to be out of football for at least a year before somebody trusts him with that offense again, just because you did good with Josh Allen, but not good enough, right? And then you were awful with Danny Dimes, who we're now watching being a really solid NFL quarterback, probably better than solid, right? And so you got to have questions about Brian Daboll. And it's like, were you just getting this gig because Josh Allen actually made you look better? And I don't believe, this is what I believe. Yes, Josh Allen made him look better because Daboll made Josh Allen a better quarterback. Like, I think maybe Daboll's the guy you bring in if he's willing to do it to be your quarterback coach. I think he's perfect for that.
Yeah, I agree. I think Brian Daboll gets another job in the NFL. I think he can dine out on Josh Allen for a long period of time. And look, he can kind of dine out on Jackson Dart, because I'm sure he was part of the decision to bring in Jackson Dart, and he's part of Jackson Dart looking good. towards the start of this season, there is no question that he has had this New York Giants team playing hard football. It's just whether they've ever really played smart football. And in the NFL, you have to eventually play smart football as well. So I think he'll get another job in the NFL. I think quarterback coach would be best suited for him. But I also think if you draft a rookie quarterback next season, that'll be like, chances are he'll be the offensive coordinator there, because I don't see him taking a quarterback coaching job. And I think he'd be an interesting college coach to go somewhere to a college and develop
quarterbacks so he could murder a 19-year-old
as well. Yeah, exactly. But, like develop a quarterback from that point as well. I think he has the potential to get other jobs. Like, he's clearly talented at one asset of the game. Just head coaching just wasn't it. Like, head coaching just really wasn't it for Brian Daboll. But always sad to hear for a guy who lost his job, even though, he'll be sitting at home having to do fuck all and getting paid millions. So it's difficult to feel too bad. But yeah, sorry that you lost your job, Mr. Daboll. Jay, let's head into week 10 of the NFL reactions, where we go over the select games in the NFL that I think have the most interesting talking points. And guys, as you can see by the video, I believe in freeing Josh Allen from this Buffalo Bills organization. We're going to be talking about the Miami Dolphins versus the Buffalo Bills. Jay, is Josh Allen going to be the greatest quarterback to never win a Super Bowl if he stays in Buffalo?
No, not even if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, because there's guys like Jim Kelly, Marino. Like, there's guys.
Buffalo.
Jim Kelly.
Yeah.
I mean, Jim Kelly's in the Hall of Fame. And I'm not saying Josh Allen won't get there, but until you get to the Hall of Fame, then Jim Kelly's that guy. And Jim Kelly's been to 4 Super Bowls, right? Won 4 AFC championships. So you can argue that maybe his skills with his legs and stuff are better than Jim Kelly's, but Jim Kelly led a team to 4 consecutive Super Bowls. Granted, he lost them all, and 4 AFC championships. So unless he wins a Super Bowl or he does that, I mean, to me, it's got to be Jim Kelly.
Yeah, I mean, the point.
I get the point, though. Yes,
I know you get the point of the question, but I think he could go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks. And I mean, the way people talk about Josh Allen and the way people go on about Josh Allen, and Josh Allen is a great quarterback, but this idea he's a generational quarterback. He puts on his Superman cape and he carries the Buffalo Bills to wins and that kind of thing. Like, I think that rhetoric around him and the way that the Buffalo Bills franchise works, I think like he could genuinely be going without winning a Super Bowl, without even really sniffing many AFC championships again, without even visiting a Super Bowl, if he continues to go to Buffalo. Because what happens in Buffalo all the time is they fumble these easy games, and it's been coming out now a couple of times. That's not a winner's mentality. Winners go out and they take care of business. And then in those games where it's like against the Chiefs in the regular season, where games can go one way or the other, games will go one way or the other. But you take care of business when you are a winning team. And they failed to do that against the Miami Dolphins team that they were favored by, like, what was the spread before kickoff? I think the spread was 9.5 points. 9.5? Is that what it is? Yeah, 9.5 points before kickoff. They were favored. And Jay, in this game, it wasn't like it was close and there was a turnover one way or there was a turnover here. Jay, they got handled by the Miami Dolphins. And a lot of people have been blaming it on Josh Allen, which is what I mean when I say, does he need to get freed from the Buffalo Bills? Because the idea that Josh Allen has a bad game if he throws 28 for 40, 306 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception, and that's a bad enough performance for the Bills to lose, that shows that the Bills organization are nothing without Josh Allen, and maybe he should get himself out of that if he can.
Yeah, I think for them, they just need to get rid of McDermott and the GM. And it's not that they're horrible because they've had winning seasons, but we've talked about this with John Harbaugh. We've talked about this with other coaches. If you cannot get over the hump, then we got to move on. You've taken us as far as you can, and we thank you for everything you've done. But it's time to get a coach that can get you over that hump and get you that Super Bowl win. So I think that's where they're at, but we'll see what happens in the offseason if they do not make the Super Bowl this year. I mean, I think if they make the AFC Championship game, nothing changes. I think if they don't, then we start hearing rumblings, and depending where they get bounced in the playoffs, I think we'll actually decide if McDermott still has his job next year.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Jay, McDermott is a defensive-minded coach, and he's currently presiding over the 5th worst run defense in the league. Like, they're a terrible run defense, and that's what the Miami Dolphins did to them. And the Miami Dolphins have a good run game, but teams have been able to stop it because they have very little else. Like, you have very little else, and we heard about the Bills going for even these moves that the Bills tried to make to fix this problem, though, like going for Quinyon Williams and going for Jalen Waddle. Those moves to me show of an organization which is a poor organization, not a winning mentality organization, because yes, they're big moves, but it feels like they're big moves to show that you're doing the big moves, because the Dolphins are never going to trade that player to you. And the Jets are never going to trade that player to you as well. So it looked like to me like they were making big moves to say that they made big moves rather than actually doing anything with that as well. And not to just overreact to a Miami Dolphins game. Like,
well, yes, but
not just to overreact.
They've showed history of this. So, like, they have to fix their defense, and they bring in Von Miller. They bring in Joey Bosa, right? Like, and these are still like older, good players. But unless you got the core of defense around them, these guys can't do what they do at that age every play in and play out. So you're trying to put a bandage, what is the old saying, a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, right? Like, how the fuck does that work? You can't really do that. You have to bring in guys who can stuff the middle. And I know this is easier said than done because we watch teams all the time. D tackles are really hard to find, really good D tackles, but that's part of their problem. But also their safeties are so deficient at different things that it kills them. So if they play in the box, they are not fast enough to get back. If they play back, then they're not good enough to stop anybody who's running.
Yeah, definitely. And Jay, they did have some injuries as well, but not enough injuries to rock them enough for the Miami Dolphins. And this is the Dolphins. Exactly. This is a point of everyone's injured, and you've got to take care of the Miami Dolphins, who just, like, again, like the Dolphins have just as many injuries in important positions as the Buffalo Bills do as well, which is also important to mention. But not trying to overreact to their loss here and say like they're a terrible football team or anything like that. It's about the winning mentality that the Bills don't seem to have. It's about that mentality, and it's also the run game is just dire. They're 5th worst in the NFL, 1,328 yards on the ground already conceded. Like, the Cowboys' run game gets a lot of hate, but they've given up 100 yards less. The Titans' run game has given up less. The Jets' run game has given up less. The Panthers' run game, the Saints have given up less yards on the ground than the Buffalo Bills. And this is dire. Yards per carry is 5.5 yards per carry as well, because they give up huge runs. I think that makes them the worst in the NFL. Yeah, they're the joint worst with the Giants, yards per carry in the NFL as well. So that run game is horrific, and more people need to talk about it. And Jay, for me, it's the safeties. They don't have a safety who's they don't have a safety who can both keep the speed and has the size to tackle. They don't have either of those safeties. And Jay, over to the Dolphins side of the ball now. Can Mike McDaniel save his career here? Because they have a decently easy schedule, and maybe not save his job with the Dolphins, but if they look good and it's a bit of a morale boost, and we'll find out again on in the Spain game, which we'll talk about at the end of the show. Can McDaniel save his career here, even if it's not with the Dolphins, if he can show he can still coach good offense?
Do you mean career as an NFL coach or an NFL head coach?
I'm going to say offensive coordinator, head coach.
I think he'll definitely be a run game coordinator again, because we watched what he did in San Francisco. He was fucking amazing. And yeah. I think there's a good chance he becomes an offensive coordinator again. I think the only way he head coaches again is if it's in college. I think his system fits college better than it fits the NFL.
Yeah, and I think to be honest, he landed in the perfect place for his attitude. Like he landed in the perfect place for how his attitude works. Like Miami is the only place where his style of coaching could have worked. His style of dealing with the press could have worked. And it unfortunately, because it was fun to watch, it unfortunately has come off the rails. So I don't see anybody giving him a head coaching job again.
He is so hard to listen to. And it might be because he's so intelligent. I hear people say that, and maybe. But it is rough listening to that guy talk.
Yeah, I quite like how he talks. I find it quite interesting, and like
he never gets to the fucking point. Never. He just keeps saying words and never gets there. It's so weird to me.
Yeah, I find him quite an interesting guy to listen to. I think it's fun. I think it's fun to have like a guy who'll like speak a bit differently to all the other coaches, and I think it's quite fun to have it. But that's as a fan. That's as a fan, and also a neutral fan, not a Dolphins fan. As I said on the last show, Jay, in Miami, it sounds like they have a city for the good times, an organization for the good times, and a coach for the good times. And they all unravel when times are hard and times are tough. And it looks like that's what happened in Miami. I agree with you. I don't think a head coaching job is on the table, but an offensive coordinator job, maybe if you have a very run happy coach, like imagine Mike McDaniel and Pete Carroll, for example, in that would be funny to watch, like a head coach that wants a run game. Maybe Mike McDaniel could go there, but great game by the Dolphins, Jay. And the most important thing about this and the way that we're diagnosing it is it wasn't like it was an unlucky, like one bounce of the ball here and there. The Dolphins got ahead, annihilated them, and the game was never close.
Yeah, it's weird to me how much that Miami can just kick the shit out of people in their division, and they're such an awful team. And I know divisional games, you know each other so well, and I always wonder, do these teams just like think, oh, we're going to play Miami and it's going to be easy, because they shouldn't think that, because Miami does this to teams. So it's Miami's one of those anomalies when they play divisional games.
Yeah, and I do think sometimes like they play in quite a cold division and they're a hot weather spot, right? So that the weather is sometimes a factor with guys traveling down to Miami and those kind of things as well. But the amount of transplants from these cold weather team bases, you would expect the away support as well to be in Miami, to be very, very good, the away support that they would have there. And it doesn't seem to affect Miami at all. And I do wonder if they think it's going to be a pushover or what. But I don't think, Jay, for me, the Dolphins have looked like a pushover at any point this season. I don't think pushover is the right way to describe them. I think they're just not a very talented football team, but I don't think it's like because they're not trying hard. They gave up a little bit in the Ravens game, but otherwise they played hard. They're just not very good, which might also save Mike McDaniels a little bit. Jay, two teams were at the top of their game going into week 10 were the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New England Patriots. And Jay, the Patriots came out as winners in the end, 23 points to 28. Jay, will the AFC be going through Foxborough?
They're fucking good. They're better than we all thought, gave them credit for coming into this year. You and I both thought they were in the right direction. Vrabel was the right hire. We both thought they had balls for moving on from Mayo right away. Got the right GM and Wolf. Drake May is the right quarterback, no matter what was said about him, right? And their receiving core is good. It's not great. And they're playing great. Their running game is better than it should be. Like, it's not off the charts, but it's better than it should be being. And I'm just we knew their defense would be good under Vrabel. Did we know they'd be this good this fast? And Milton Williams looked like he was worth every bit of that money they gave him. This team is really doing the right thing. And for people who hated the Patriots with Brady, buckle up, because I'm not saying they're winning 6 Super Bowls, but I'm saying they're going to be a thorn in people's sides for years to come.
Yeah, and I remember commenting at the start of the season, like, how fucking ironic will it be if the Patriots like only need to take like 3 years out from the greatest coach ever and they come back again, the best team in the AFC, and this time they're fucking likable as well. Like, how dare the New England Patriots be likable? You know, they're playing like a really great style of football. Drake May seems like a likable guy. We all like Vrabel as well. And there's one thing that makes teams unlikable, and it is winning. You know, there's a one way to make people hate a team, and it is winning. That is a problem that we have in today's day, and maybe forever. So, that how much we love an underdog.
Think about this, just to piggyback off your point about winning. So Lions get so much hate now. We're the most lovable team when they sucked, right? The only team I can think of that gets hate, two teams come to mind now, but one really bad. Houston got a little bit of hate for sucking, but I think that had a lot to do with Deshaun Watson, and then O'Brien sold all of their great players off. But the Jets, no matter what, people just fucking can't stand the Jets. Have been bad for this long, and they're in New York, and they just hate the Jets.
Yeah, and at least with the Jets, it's understandable because like there's the media and the Giants are also there. So you already have like people in the city hate them because of like a rivalry and stuff like that. But fuck, like, yeah, the Jets do always get a lot.
You're right. If you lose, they like you. How many of us were like, oh, look at the Carolina Panthers. They're an adorable little team. They're getting better, right? Like there's that weird thing. And where if they were really good, people be like, remember when Cam Newton was there? Fuck Carolina. Yeah. I can't stand Carolina. Josh Norman's an asshole. Like, you know what I mean? It was all of that.
Yeah, there's such cocky fuckers and all of that
Steve
kind of
Smith
stuff.
Steve Smith can go fuck himself. You know, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like not to take this away from American football too much and to take on to F1. I know you don't watch F1, but this is just a symptom of this. The guy who's currently leading the world championship as a driver last season was like everybody's favorite driver. He got the fans vote for driver of the day, and he won the most fan voted. He won the most fan voted driver of the days and stuff like that. Like he gets all of these accolades from the fans voting for him, and now he's started to win. Now he's at the top of the F1 championship with 3 races to go. They boo him when he's on the podium after winning a race. He gets booed after winning a race, and it's just a symptom of like, you know,
but that's a little different
mentality.
Because F1 just proves that money in the car when you fucking championships where
but the two people at the top are driving the same car. Like it's the two people at the top driving the same car.
That so they're just all proves like, my point.
They're supporting the other guy. Yeah, I know. Like I understand that.
And but you like, can't pass an F1. Who the fuck wants to watch racing? That passing's impossible. Like, get out of here. All right. No,
also
I'll hated on your racing.
They also like hated Verstappen for the longest period of time, and now he's everybody's favorite because he's in the worst car. And it's like,
drop this in the comments. My question for Maddie: drop this in the comments. What you think? Is racing a sport?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
No, it's a skilled activity. You do not have to be an athlete to race. It's like fucking the spelling bee. I am not trying to hear that.
Sandy agrees with you. That's good.
She better. We live together.
She better. One thing that was really impressive for the New England Patriots in this game, like they come out with the win. Something that we were talking about them beforehand is their kind of inability to balance. Like they've had zero balance in their side. It's been in their offense. It's been very pass offense orientated the whole time, and they've been getting no run game. Have we finally seen with second year Trayvon Henderson stepping up? Has he finally provided that balance that Drake May has needed, and will he continue to throughout the whole season?
Yes, but the reason their run game has been serviceable is Drake May, right? Like, so this will help take the pressure off of him because he has been a lot of their run game, which he shouldn't be. Like, he passes from the pocket, looks to throw first, but he's athletic, and we've seen him bust out 20-yard runs. Like, we've seen him bust out 12-yard first downs on third down when he should be sacked. So, like, he has kept their run game served. And Stevenson looked all right at times this year and then just never took off. Like, I know everybody in our fantasy league was jockeying for him as, like, a backup running back for a while because of the way he was moving. I mean, he has been in more trades than Brandon Cook. Okay, so that is the weird thing about their fucking their offenses. We thought they had a guy that could, you know, be that 80, 90-yard rusher a game, and they haven't got it. But stick around till later. We'll talk about the running game some more when we get to some other segments in this show. But Trayvon Henderson looked fucking great.
Yeah, and obviously they're playing. This evening as well, the New England Patriots. So we'll talk a bit more about them when we get to our Thursday night preview. But yeah, Trayvon Henderson went for 147 yards. Patriots fans have been begging for him all season. Like he's so fast. He can burst those big runs and those huge plays. A big fantasy addition if you can get a hold of him. But obviously you'll have to buy him quite high. You'll have to buy him quite high now. If you're going to go get him in fantasy. But Jay, with the Bucs losing this game and with the injuries, is the Bucs season kind of in danger of fading away after looking like one of the best teams in the NFC?
No, because they're going to win that division. Ibuka still look good, right? Like they still have
150 yards, yeah.
They're dealing with injuries of guys they're going to get back to. No, I think they win that division and they get in the playoffs. Nobody wants to see them in the playoffs. Nobody is going to be excited to watch Baker Mayfield and that scrappy-ass team in the playoffs. And if you win your division, you get a home game, which helps you right away, right? So you get a home game, you win that. When you go on the road and steal one, next thing you know, you're in the NFC Championship game and anything can happen.
Yeah, and I think they're just a generally interesting team as a whole. Like they have a little bit of a rough schedule coming up now as well. Let me just quickly bounce to get that up. They have a little bit of a rough schedule here, and then it kind of gets easy again. So they've got the Rams to finish off. Yeah, so that's to finish off a schedule where they have the Patriots, the Bills, and the Rams in 3 weeks, and then they've got the Cardinals, the Saints, the Falcons, the Panthers, the Dolphins, and the Panthers to go to finish off their season. So yes, they might find this run a little bit hard, but then they've still got the Panthers to play twice, who are the only team that are close to winning the division.
And don't underestimate the fact that Baker Mayfield played a half a season for Sean McVay. Like that is going to play a role into what they know. And don't get me wrong, offenses evolve and change, but the core principles stay the same. And so Baker will be able to help that defense at times with what he sees going on in the game. And if we know one thing about Baker, he is smart and he is tough as nails. And Cleveland's franchise is going to suffer for a decade. We've already seen 4 or 5 years of it because they didn't believe in their first overall draft pick.
Yeah, and nobody wants to leave a play up to Baker Mayfield in the last play of the game. Like nobody wants to leave time on the clock for Baker Mayfield.
How do you and I do a whole season of Baker should not be playing injured? This is not Baker's fault. Baker can play. Go back and watch. And the football people who are getting paid millions were like, we're going to go grab a dude who can't stop from rubbing himself on massage therapists. Like, they're never going to give him $230 million guaranteed and a ton of draft picks. And I just can't say it enough, and I don't know why I'm getting pissed off this many years later, but Baker Mayfield may have won you a Super Bowl with that $230 million and all those draft picks with the team you have right now. And
it surely goes down to being the worst trade in NFL history, but that's good for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they got their quarterback.
The sad thing is it's not. Herschel Walker's still out there, so it's not. I mean, it brought you 3 Super Bowls. It brought the Cowboys literally 3 Super Bowls. So just saying.
Yeah, that's true.
I can tell you why the Vikings weren't wrong. That's a whole podcast, but it still didn't turn out right, and it got you 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah, and I mean, the Texans, though, have managed to build one of the best defenses in the league over it. And talking about the Texans. And CJ Stroud as well. And talking about the Texans, let's move to Houston getting that crazy win against the Jacksonville Jaguars at the end of the game. The score going into the fourth quarter, they were 21 points behind, and in the fourth quarter they went 26-0 to beat the Jaguars 36 points to 29. Jay, I didn't think there was much to talk about this game apart from because it was just such a strange game. what I want to talk about is the two quarterbacks from the 2021 draft class. Jay, is Davis Mills the best quarterback from the 2021 draft class? Like you predicted he might be coming out.
No, because Trevor Lawrence is still better. He just hasn't and he still plays better if you look at starts overall, right? Like winning percentage and like Trevor Lawrence is still better. And this isn't a shot at Davis Mills because I think he is in the top probably 2 quarterbacks from that draft. But I also believe that I believe 100% in my heart, and we can't prove it, that New York ruined Zach Wilson. Ruined him.
Yeah, and I think you saw like some glimpse of talent from Zach Wilson. Where
I hope Bo Nix never gets hurt, but if he does, we are going to see that New York screwed up. That kid. Yeah. I'm not saying he's a starting quarterback, but he's better than what we saw at the Jets.
I mean, he wasn't able to. He's not been able to push his way into the starting lineup in Miami. So. Maybe.
Oh, that's right. He's in Miami now. I still thought he was still in
Miami
Denver.
now.
I thought he was still in. No, I forgot he went to Miami.
Who is in Denver? But anyway, yeah, he
was with Sean Payton for a year, right? I might be fucking just stupid, right?
No. He was in Denver. He was in Denver last year. Yeah. But he's in Miami now. But yeah, Jay, with this draft class, it's Trevor Lawrence, it's Zach Wilson, Trey Lance. Justin Fields billed as one of the greatest quarterback draft classes of all time. And there's certain points in a career, like there was certain points in that first season, the 2022 season, where Davis Mills was actually playing better football than Trevor Lawrence. I mean, Trevor Lawrence was playing for a head coach who couldn't stop kicking his kicker in Urban Meyer. So, let's give Trevor Lawrence a pass on that one. But since then, Trevor Lawrence hasn't hit the straps. And I still think Trevor Lawrence is a great quarterback. I think that game that he played against the Chiefs, he showed all of his talents there. The playoff game against the Chargers that they won, he played all of his talents there. If I was Jacksonville, I would sit Trevor Lawrence in front of the TV and just ask him to watch that Chargers playoff game over and over again. Especially the fourth quarter against the Chargers, and just play like this, just do this, But Trevor Lawrence didn't have his top 2 wide receivers. There's been a lot of wide receiver drops as well. Like I'm
one of them scared of getting
Trevor
hit.
Lawrence is yeah, exactly. I'm more on the wagon that Trevor Lawrence is actually a good quarterback. But the GM that is in Jacksonville now, we saw with this organization. We saw him trade Jared Goff to the Detroit Lions in return for Matthew Stafford and to rebuild that Rams team in a different image and go for it and eventually go out and win the Super Bowl. Jay, is Trevor Lawrence actually a trade candidate? If he doesn't work in Jacksonville, does it make sense to get a couple of first round picks for him, get rid of that contract and use it to rebuild the roster and start again? Because there are huge problems in Jacksonville.
I don't think yet. This is what I want to see personally. I want to see one more draft cycle and year with Liam Cohen. That's what I want to see. I want to see you go out in this offseason. You do not have to get splashy guys. Go get possession receivers that will not drop the ball. Protect him better on the line in the draft. Do a couple things on the defense. I want to see them make these moves with 2 cycles of this for Liam Cohen, and I think and his offense with a whole year under your belt coming back in, I think we'll see more because we've seen with his offense, like the running game is what his running game has been, right? Like Liam Cohen and that is revitalized that running game for them. I think a lot of this has to do with you got guys who are scared to get hit over the middle. You got guys who are dropping balls. And I'm not saying that Trevor Lawrence doesn't have any of the blame, but I also think it gets to a point for a quarterback. At some point, he's like trying to do too much because nobody else is helping him out. Maybe it is time to move on. But for me, I want to see one more year of everything.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of obviously I don't think he's a trade candidate. I don't think he's in really a position.
You made me think though, like if somebody came with 2 firsts and a Jared Goff type quarterback when Jared Goff was traded, not Jared Goff today, right? Do you do it? Like, I'm not saying Minnesota would do it, but if Minnesota says we give you McCarthy and 2 first-round picks, do you take that? Like, if one of these young quarterbacks was available the Giants are dumb. What if they were like Jackson Dart and 2 first-round quarterbacks? Like you made me think. Like, I don't know.
Like Trevor Lawrence screams the kind of guy that teams would fall over themselves to kick the tires on, and want to be like, yeah, let's get this guy. Like, let's go. And like the Titans, if they've gone, do you know what? We haven't really seen it with Cam Ward. They're going to have a first overall. They're possibly going to have a first overall pick again, like coming up, first or second overall pick again here. They could go Cam Ward's first overall pick, Trevor Lawrence. Like, what do you think? Like,
it's in division. That's the only problem, right?
It's in division. I always forget about that.
It's not your fault. Nobody ever remembers the AFC South anyway.
Yeah.
Except for the Colts, they are so forgettable right now.
Yeah, or like the Cardinals, like they'll have a top 10 draft pick. Kyler Murray, so they're just really trading the contracts as well. Liam Cohen with a run game operating offense. Like,
we got a British mad scientist.
I mean, I've clearly been playing too much Madden recently, but like it's there, and this front office has had history of doing it with what they did with Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford in there. And maybe if they just decide, look, Trevor Lawrence is a great quarterback, but he's just not working for us. It's another one of those things that where it's like the same voices in the building doing the same thing over and over again. Like, if it doesn't work, then why not just change something? Even if you know it's good, why not just change it because it's not working? Like, if it ain't working, do fix it, because something isn't in Jacksonville. They have a problem. And their other biggest problem, Jay, is they just simply can't rush the passer. They just simply can't rush the passer in Jacksonville. And do you know what? Actually, the biggest problem that the Jacksonville Jaguars have is they didn't draft Aiden Hutchinson, and they drafted Trayvon Walker when they had the chance.
Yeah,
that you could basically hit a lot of the stuff that they've suffered through from that to that draft pick as well. So, yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars, an interesting football team this season at 5-4. In seasons gone by, that would be enough to kind of be in with a shout with the NFC South, the AFC South, but the Colts have kind of ran away with that division.
Yeah, I think pass rush is a big problem. Like I said, one more cycle through, let them see what they can do. They have a lot of the building pieces there. They're just not all the way there with the roster yet. It's a new system, but something's got to change because we've always have expectations and they always let me down at least.
Yeah. Jay, before we move on to looking at our final full game review, I thought we could have a little JJ McCarthy breakdown because there's been a lot of talk about him after the Baltimore Ravens versus the Vikings loss. And Jay, was JJ McCarthy the problem in that game at all? What do we make of JJ McCarthy at this point in his career? Obviously, we both say it's ridiculously young this point in his career.
There's 100 things that went wrong in that game. I'm not the only one who's been bitching about the reffing in these Vikings games for the last 2 years, to the point where Randy Moss came out and said something on ESPN during a Monday Night Take. Like, that something's going on. If these announcers are saying something too, they're getting pissed off, right? So I'm not the only one, but I am not saying that that's why they lost. Fucking false starts, fucking pre-snap penalties. Like, what the fuck are we doing? And then JJ got to learn a little touch. Do not get me wrong, but there's also passes that these guys got to fucking catch. Like, you're better than this, and I'm not sure what's going on. Whatever that last run with Kirk and last year with Sam Darnold, they were catching all these passes. It's just a really weird year. Also, can we stop acting like JJ's more than 4 games into his career? And at 4-game mark, he's got the same exact stats as fucking Josh Allen. Not that proves anything, but it's like, can we stop with this overreaction too soon? Now, if by the end of the year you're still saying shit's rocky and not right or whatever, and definitely it goes on next year, maybe that's another reason to give Trevor Lawrence one more year, maybe that if JJ doesn't work out. But I still have faith in JJ because I see the things there. I see the talent, and I see that he makes good reads. Sometimes he zips the ball too much, but that's a young quarterback mistake. They rifle that in there, not touch. And a lot of times when his pass is off, it's because he's getting blown up while throwing it too. And yes, he has a lot to he takes a lot of blame in this. This is just me giving the reasons on why I'm not bailing on JJ yet.
Yeah, and for me, I don't actually think JJ has a lot of the blame in this. Like, that game was never the way that the Vikings wanted to play that game. JJ was never meant to have 42 pass attempts in that game. He was never meant to do that. There's no way he was ever meant to do. But if you have 8 false starts in your own building, then you're going to have to throw the ball. Like, that's going to have to happen. And it's not the type of game that JJ wants. And this idea, you know, like, well, he's your quarterback. He should be able to put him on his back. And like, should he? Like, should he at this point, like 4 games into his career, if he's getting 8 full starts every time?
Is there an argument that Bo Nix is a starting quarterback? Because I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people
but are you going to put a game on Bo Nix's back and then be mad at this young kid for not coming through? And he's got, you know, he didn't get injured last year. And we all think Bo Nix can play. You got to protect. What did I say about Bo Nix coming into this year? Just protect him. Just protect him, and he will be fucking great. And let him just get comfortable with the NFL for a couple years and then do it. Like, can we stop acting like we got to throw all this on their backs? And yes, there's quarterbacks who have came in and can carry a team, but that doesn't mean all of them do, right? Like Peyton Manning, was awful at times in his first season. Tom Brady didn't even see the field in his first season. Like, you know, and I guess, JJ, this is his second season, but to me in my head, it still feels like the first because of the injury. But I'm like, let this kid grow. And I just love that there's actually, I feel like the Vikings and Kevin O'Connell are going to ride this out longer than a lot of other teams would and not move off too quickly, because we have seen teams like we just talked about Baker Mayfield move off too quickly, or we have seen teams ruin quarterbacks. Sam Darnold, I mean, he brought it back around, but the Jets ruined him, right? So, like, just calm down, let Kevin O'Connell do his thing, let the kid develop, and I think they'll be fine.
A lot of the stuff with JJ McCarthy and his struggles for me have been like things like processing time, and that's something that does speed up. So
Caleb Williams sucked balls last year.
Yeah, and Caleb Williams actually against the last week was the first time where I've seen him be really good at not getting sacked. Like previously, like he's clearly talented, but he was actively reading stuff quickly to not get sacked. And JJ McCarthy's holding the ball for among the longest time in the NFL. He's holding about 3.2 seconds. It's taken him about 3.2 seconds to throw the ball. So that doesn't help a Vikings line that is kind of.
Well, they're injured.
I thought played. They're injured, but they're also. I think they played okay against the Ravens. It's just 3.2. Like for an okay offensive line, 3.2 is a bit. But processing time goes up. He needs to stop doing those like weird jump in the air throws that he's doing. Like he needs to just plant and just throw the ball. Like he needs to stop that. But what a lot of people have been saying, it's almost like people just watch the box scores and don't actually watch the games. Like they see those 2 interceptions and then they pair that up with the interceptions that he threw in the game where he got injured for a period of time. But they see that the interceptions where he threw in this game. One was a terrible read into double coverage and he overthrows the ball. It was on 3rd down and 1 as well. Like it should never have been like, it should have been all just quick out the hands, just pick up the 1st down and stuff. That's terrible. That's a bad interception. But at least he's trying to throw it down the field, unlike what a lot of, you know, like rookie quarterbacks do in that, which is just like pick people off and stuff like that. But in the second interception, Justin Jefferson falls over. And if you're going to throw the ball up to someone, just throw it up to Justin Jefferson. It's at least going to be a contested catch. Like it's not going to be an interception. And it gives an opportunity for Justin Jefferson, your lead guy, to make a play. And people are just looking at it and going, JJ McCarthy throws 2 interceptions again. He throws for like an under 50% completion percentage. And it's like, watch the game. Like there's 8 false starts. He's playing behind the chains every fucking time. Like they know it's coming. And there's ways that he can improve, but he's shown me more than enough talent in the NFL. For me, as one of the more live arms in the NFL, and I don't think most people could say that about him coming out as well. Like his arm is live and like really, really throwing into tight spaces. So I think positives to be taken.
I had to argue that the whole time in the draft process, like, dude, this kid's arm is stronger than they give him credit for. Like, we saw bombs at Michigan. They just didn't see him a lot because they ran the fucking ball. But I'm like, geez, this kid's getting beat up at everywhere he turns. But it also is, he suffers by comparison, right? Because that draft class is looking so nice right now that he is getting. But the thing is everybody in that draft class has a year up on him.
Yeah, a year up on him. And if you look at, like, you know, like Caleb Williams' offensive line looks okay now, but Ben Johnson's like kind of putting him into that place. But also Drake May's like in this season, like, is getting a lot of good play out of a lot of his, like, the people around him and those kind of things. Bo Nix has one of the best offensive lines in the league and those kind of positions as well. Like, they're getting a lot of play from the people around him and a lot of support from the people around him as well, which you correctly said that the Vikings players made those catches or made those blocks for Sam Darnold last season. And they're not currently doing the same for JJ, and it can just be to do with this has been a bit of a weird stop-start season for the Vikings, and they're in an incredibly inconsistent place. So,
I'm not giving them excuses, but it's been wildly injury-ridden too. It just wildly. I feel like we're the 49ers this year, like with injuries.
Yeah, been a really weirdly up-down season. Jay, the final game I wanted to look at was the two of the top teams in the NFC and two people that could be vying for an NFC championship, playing a terrible game of football. But, you know, again, is it just good defense, or is it good defense, or is it terrible offense and those kind of things? Jay, the Green Bay Packers went up against the Philadelphia Eagles. Jay, I don't really know what either of these teams are. Can you help me out?
It was both, to answer your question. Sometimes it was good defense, and sometimes it was just awful play. The Packers are what you and I have been saying all year. They're good. They're not as good as everybody thinks they are. Like, they have weaknesses and deficiencies, and we have pointed them out over and over. The Eagles are kind of what they are every year, and all we're waiting to see is, do they take off at the end of the year or do they collapse? Because it's one or the other, right? They're either just going to collapse and die at the end of the year, or they're going to take off and make a run for the Super Bowl. And to answer your question, when it comes to the Eagles, I have no idea. When it comes to the Packers, they're a good team. They're not a great team. They're going to make the playoffs. I don't really believe they're contenders for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think we've been saying it like throughout with the Packers, like Jordan Love is a roller coaster of a quarterback because of the way he just throws the ball in general. And the same people who criticize JJ McCarthy for throwing off his back foot, I never see them saying the same things about Jordan Love. Or they say Bo Nix's footwork is horrendous, which Bo Nix's footwork was a problem like last week. But they don't say the same thing about Jordan Love. And Jordan Love, as soon as he has a little bit of pressure, every throw is off the back foot. And he can make those throws. He can make those throws that we say. I feel like I say this all the time. That game against the Dallas Cowboys in the playoff, Micah Parsons couldn't touch him. He couldn't touch him because the throw was coming off the back foot every single time. But it's going to be inconsistent from back there, no matter what happens. And then when you come up against a good defense like the Eagles, who are just consistently on their men every single time, I thought the Eagles' defense looked very, very good. And I think the Eagles' offense, again, looked pretty lackluster. But it's, you know, they don't have a problem with inconsistency. They have almost a problem of they're consistently doing this now of like just getting through and like just winning games, which is obviously what football is all about. But the offense looked lackluster in that game to me, and it was terrible from the Packers side of the ball as well.
Well, let me ask you a question, and you're going to get joy out of this question.
Excellent.
Smith's the best receiver on the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
AJ Brown's
I think
number 2, right? Like, am I crazy? Like, Smith is number 1, AJ Brown is number 2, because in the biggest gotta have it moments, it seems like Smith is the one coming up with that ball.
I obviously don't know whether I believe that on like a talent standpoint.
No, I mean for their team. We don't have to argue talent.
For Jalen Hurts, he throws the ball to Smith. That's where the ball goes every time. And it's why I've never understood them keeping AJ Brown.
Because he gets double covered
he gets double coverage. Like I understand he gets double coverage. I understand, and like I do get it from that point of view, and I understand not wanting to upset the apple cart, and like you've got a winning team. He's a great wide receiver. Play him, but you can probably get a first round pick for AJ.
You can do it in the off season though.
Yeah, 100%. I meant like maybe after winning the Super Bowl, go get your first round pick for AJ Brown.
Right, but you were trying to trade him before the trade deadline, and that was my argument. If they decide to trade him afterwards, I trust Howie to have a plan to replace him, even if it's not at a 100% replacement. I trust Howie to have a plan, right? So then I'm good with it. But trading before the trade deadline to me was crazy because it hurts Saquon, it hurts Smith, it hurts Dallas Goedert, like it hurts Jalen Hurts. So that was my argument. But I'm with you. Go get something for him.
I agree. I don't think it should have been at the trade deadline. I think a few weeks before to allow you to make the moves to get someone else in the building.
I don't think it should have been this year.
Would make a lot of sense. But yes. Like I do think get rid of like. They just don't use him. Like he's just not in use. So I think you can get rid of AJ Brown, get a first round pick for him. You effectively have then got AJ Brown for free.
I was going to say the most Howie shit ever. He figured out how to lease a player for free.
Yeah, he basically got AJ Brown, and he had to pay his contract, but you have to pay the contract still. Right. You have to pay a certain amount of money anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Like you would just have filled it with someone else. He's managed to get a top wide receiver for free because he'd still get a first round pick for him. Like he'd still get a first round pick from him today. Like normally football players are depreciating assets, but AJ Brown is an appreciating assets apparently straight away.
And NFL teams over a 3-year period have to spend 94% of their cap by the CBA. So there is a minimum they have to spend too. Otherwise, they have to take that they didn't spend and break it up over all the players that were on the team for the 3 years. So they spend it either way.
Yeah, and I think if you get if you have Devontae Smith on one side of the ball, then they have two first. If they got a first round pick for AJ, they would have 2 first round picks. Okay, you can spend one of that on the top wide receivers in the draft. Like you can spend that on the top wide receiver in the draft. You'll
probably get one in the 3rd round.
Yeah, and he's the actual guy he starts will be in the 3rd round, or he'll get Tyreek Hill for his 7th round pick and have some magical elixir to re-heal his injury and all of that, and Tyreek Hill immediately becomes 2019 Tyreek Hill. That's what Howie will do. Like it'll be some sort of crazy shit. But you can't tell that I'm a bitter Cowboys fan for them having possibly the greatest GM of all time.
Howie's biggest mistake, tell me if I'm wrong, is Ragnar over Jefferson.
His only mistake, possibly.
Okay, it's a huge one. Could you imagine that team right now with Justin Jefferson?
Yeah, well, they wouldn't use him. They don't throw the ball to AJ Brown now. Like, I know that Justin Jefferson, they wouldn't use him. Jalen Hurts doesn't throw to that guy. Jalen Hurts doesn't throw contested catches. He doesn't throw them. He keeps them in and he doesn't throw them, and he doesn't have to because he knows he doesn't have to. He's probably asked not to be fair. So yes, but obviously Justin Jefferson would be a totally different thing. I mean, they would have had to pay him an absolute bag as well, which they seem to manage to have space to do as well. Again, not that I'm bitter. But Jay, that was our reactions to the big game talking points in NFL Week 10. Let's move on to our NFL rookie MVPs before we hit our NFL MVP and rookie MVP before we hit the break. Jay, shall we start with your rookie MVP for Week 10?
Yeah, I don't know if there's even a question on this, but it's Trayvon Henderson, running back, Patriots, 147, including 2 touchdowns, a 55 and a 69-yard touchdown. Runs. Yeah. With 2 touchdowns, 69 and 55-yard rushes.
Yeah, he was awesome. Like he's who the Patriots fans have been absolutely begging for this entire time. And with Ramondre Stevenson's fumble issues this season, like I'm surprised it's taken them this long to give him this big of a workload. And guys, if you can get him in fantasy for the cheap, he will be a guy to pick up. I think going forward, because he'll get a handful of the.
Since it's not stepping on your toes, honorable mention to Ibuka in a loss. That kid balled out in a loss.
Yeah, I feel like we could just say Ibuka like all the time. Like Ibuka, 115 yards. Is he offensive rookie of the year for you, Mecca Ibuka?
I haven't even thought about it yet this year, but yeah, definitely he is in the conversation. That's something, you really got to sit down and think about, but yeah, definitely in the conversation for me.
Yeah, I think Terrell McMillan technically has more receiving yards, but obviously Ibuka had that injury as well. I just think Ibuka is absolutely ridiculous. Jay, I went for Nick Amanwari, who was the cornerback for the Seattle Seahawks. I knew you were going to go for Trayvon Henderson, and if you didn't, I would have changed mine on the spot. But I went for Nick Amanwari. The Seattle Seahawks are playing some excellent football, and they had loads of coverage sacks. They had a lot of coverage sacks going up against the Cardinals last week. And like we talk so often about pass rushes, winning games, like pass rushes, coverage sacks, allowing you to get to the quarterback. And those two fumbles that look like they were replays from Jacoby Brissett, those two fumbles returned for touchdowns, they're off good coverage from Nicole Manwari. Like if you go watch him, Jacoby Brissett goes to throw the ball there, then brings it back in, and then the sack comes in to get them on both plays. So let's give the fumble and fumble returns to Nicole Manwari. But Jay, who is your MVP of Week 10?
Well, I'm sticking with the running backs, and we are going to go on Wisconsin with Jonathan Taylor, 244, 3 touchdowns, including an 83-yard run in overtime.
Yeah, and I think him busting that run out, like, oh my God, that's great. And Jay, we lost the spread by half a point. We lost 2 spreads by half a point this week. 2 spreads that would have got us both.
That's because Vegas knows what they're doing.
Those half points, they were cruel half points. Evil ones. But yeah, Jay, Justin, Jonathan Taylor, possibly offensive player of the year, although Jackson Smith-Njigba might have a lot to say about that as well. Like there's a few players putting up crazy stats that would be considered MVPs if the MVP wasn't just best quarterback in the league so far this season, because no quarterback has raised themselves to the levels of Jonathan Taylor and Jackson Smith-Njigba, in my opinion. Thoughts?
No, I like what's going on. I think that Jackson Smith-Njigba was the whole offense. So we talked about this last week. I think Seattle is one of the top teams in the NFL, but will Sam Darnold do some Sam Darnold shit? But I love that you have David Achane as yours.
Yeah, Jay. My MVP of Week 10 is Devon Achane for his performance against the Buffalo Bills, where he went 22 carries, 174 yards, and 2 touchdowns, including bursting some huge runs himself. But Jay, Devon Achane has been on an absolute tear and might be single-handedly saving Mike McDaniel's career. He looks that good. He's right at the top of the running backs for me, with Jonathan Taylor, Bijan Robinson, Devon Achane. Like his name isn't lost in those either. And again, another fantasy winning season for him. I nearly picked him again. I've picked him in the past 2 years, and I thought, no, I don't trust the Dolphins at all this year. But I was nearly picked him again, and he would have been a fantasy winner for people this season as well, because he's just been absolutely unbelievable. Jay, before we move to our segment GMJ and then our Week 10 overreactions, we're about an hour into the show, and then we'll be moving on to Week 11 with Thursday Night Football, our Spain game, the first game in Spain, our previews for those, and then finishing off with our Week 11 best bets. So stay tuned for all of that. But we're going to quickly head off for a break and a coffee. And guys, if you want to buy our coffees for us, here's where you can.
Me and Jay set up the Yankee and the Brit nearly 5 years ago. And in that time, we've gone up to about 7 shows a week. And with the help of our loyal community, we've been able to keep growing. But we want to grow even more. And that's why just giving $5 or £5 could really help us out in our Buy Me a Coffee fund. And all you have to do is hit the Buy Me a Coffee link in our YouTube descriptions. That'll be on every single video. You can give £5, $5. You can give it once, you can give it every month. And what that does is it allows us to grow and even buy ourselves a coffee every once in a while.
Yeah, guys, so welcome back after that quick break. Jay, I always sit down to these and forget to have the water next to me. So I'll drink like a pint of water and then we'll need to go get the thing in the break. So I'm always really happy that we have these breaks now because we never used to do them. We just used to just go all the way through. So I always make sure that I do that. But guys, you can buy us a coffee with the QR code below. Or the link is in the description of the video as well. But Jay, we move on to my favorite segment, which is GMJ, where I get to ask our resident podcasting platform GM a question that I would want to ask NFL GMs. And Jay, this one is about the whole league. You're the GM of the whole league right now. Jay, after Brian Daboll was fired, who are the next head coaches on the hot seat for you?
I mean, there's some low-hanging fruit out there, right? Like Mike McDaniels we talked about. With everything going on in Cleveland, we could talk Stefanski. For me, Raheem Morris, gotta go. Gotta go. You got way too much talent there. Gotta go. You guys botched the whole quarterback thing on both ends. Yet, like, bye. Whole regime. Just bye.
Yeah, definitely. And I had a sneaky suspicion that you would say that because you wouldn't be... because we believe that coaches should get a decent amount of time in the job. So you wouldn't say Aaron Glenn, Kevin Stefanski's come off like he's not the problem in Cleveland, Kevin Stefanski.
No, but I still think you at some point you end up on the hot seat, right? 2 years removed.
Yeah.
And I hope this ain't true for Kevin O'Connell, but some reason winning coach of the year is like the coach of death or the seal of your death 2 years later.
Yeah, hopefully not the same with Kevin O'Connell and obviously Mike McDaniel. But, Jay, that game against the Colts, I was on live, basically watching the game live and doing commentary at the same time, which, guys, if you want to join us on Sunday, we go live during halftime of those European games. So you can come and join us for that, where we kind of do it as a bit of a watch along as well as doing our preview for the week on Sunday as well. But I was just watching that game and I was just screaming. I was just screaming, get the ball to Bijan Robinson the entire time. It's like the NFL isn't hard. Put the ball in the hands of your best players, and they refuse to do it again and again and again and again. Since he's come into the league, they just haven't given him the rock. And obviously I'm a fantasy owner of his, so the fact that they're giving Tyler Algier his red zone touches, not just his red zone touches, his like inside the 5-yard line touches is killer and horrific, but just give him the ball in other spaces as well and find ways to give him the ball. And their gameplay is horrific. But yeah, I agree with you. Raheem Morris got to be. I also think he's the Arizona Cardinals head coach. What's his name? Oh shit! Didn't he? He used to be at the Eagles, didn't he? Oh, this is embarrassing. But anyway, the Arizona Cardinals head coach could be coming under some scrutiny as well, because it's, again, they've put together a decent roster. They've put together a decent roster for him. And again, I'm just
Callahan,
think of his name,
right?
No, that's the guy who got sacked for the Titans.
Yeah.
But they've been trying to put a decent. But they've put a decent roster together for him again, and it's inconsistency, which is a coach's point of view. And Jay, what about Zach Taylor? What about Zach Taylor of the Cincinnati Bengals? What do you think about him and his potential for being
Jonathan Gannon? By the way, it's Jonathan Gannon.
I was like, it definitely begins with a G. I was just trying to work out what it was. But what do you make of Zach Taylor possibly being on the hot seat for the Cincinnati Bengals as well?
I think he should have been fired 2 years ago. I mean, we have proof of this. Just go back and watch the shows. We both did.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I need to look at his contract because, again, we're talking about one of the cheapest owners in the NFL. And will he fire a guy and pay 2 coaches? I don't know. But at some point, you got to do something. I know that Joe Burrow's trying to hurry up and get back, and he's out doing some stuff at practice and whatever. I think all you're doing is rushing Joe Burrow in to get hurt again. Fire him.
Yeah, definitely. I'm surprised he hasn't been fired already until you remember that he's the until you remember that he's one of the cheapest owners in the league. But for Zach Taylor, just on that talking point quickly for Joe Burrow, because I'm not sure how many people know, but he's recommended to come back on the 27th of. He's recommended to come back on the 27th of November. I was going to pick him up. It's why I was trying to trade. I realized that maybe people hadn't noticed in our fantasy football league. So I was like, right, I'm going to try and trade JJ to try and just get something back for JJ, and I'll pick up Joe Burrow. And I was trying to be too cute with it. And I should have just dropped JJ for Joe Burrow in fantasy terms, because I'm going to play Caleb Williams over JJ pretty much every time going forward. And then get Joe Burrow in because of the way the Cincinnati Bengals offense is working. And he's been picked up by the guy who's second in my division.
Yeah, I was going to grab him too, but I have too many quarterback injuries right now, so I would have had to maneuver too much. So I'm like, it's not worth bringing Burrow in and costing myself a game in the process. But I thought about it too, because I already have Kyler on the IR, and I'm like, just cut Kyler. But then you have to drop, because of the way our league is set up, I have to drop one of my quarterbacks that are active, and then I'm going to lose them. And I didn't have Sam Darnold at the moment. I would have had to ride the season with Aaron Rodgers.
The way our league works is you have to cut. You can, even if you have a quarterback on IR, he counts towards your 2 quarterback slots, because that's what I tried to do.
No, I have Kyler in the IR, I have Justin Fields, and I have Sam Darnold starting.
It wouldn't let me put Joe Burrow in the IR. It wouldn't let me put.
Because you only have to have one guy on your roster, then put him on the IR, then you can pick up the third quarterback. That's why I didn't do it.
Oh, right. Okay. So I would have had to pick him up, put him in the IR, and then risk losing JJ McCarthy anyway. But anyway.
Yes. Fine. You can't just add somebody to IR if you have 2. But if you have one, you can pick them up, move the IR, and then bring in a third. Yeah. But okay. I got lucky. Not lucky, but Kyler got hurt, so I moved him to the IR, and then I went and picked up Justin Fields as backup.
Yeah. I mean, I would have. I would have done the thing where I dropped JJ and taken that risk, because
if anybody's confused,
picked him up. But
the reason we're only allowed 2 quarterbacks is because we have a 14-team league, and there was a British guy who on the other screen here who was hoarding quarterbacks. There was not enough starting quarterbacks for everybody one week because Maddie had 4 of them or something like that.
It was in the playoffs. The guy I was playing against got an injury at quarterback.
It was smart. But
I knew I wasn't changing any of my starters, so I just went and took every starting quarterback that was left, so he couldn't fill his starting quarterback, which is evil. But don't hate the player, hate the game, and all of that. Which you did the right thing to change those.
No, it was you did not break the rules. You just caused a rule change. That's all.
Beautiful. Yeah, the favorite thing. But yeah, Jay, let's move on to our week 10.
For the record, Maddie won the season, so it worked out.
I won that season, which was it was a winning strategy, turned out. But Jay,
absolutely.
Let's move on to our week 10 overreactions. Jay, what have you got for your overreaction to this week?
I promise you, I made this up before I saw yours, and I just have to say this.
Fuck off! No way.
This is the worst bit of football I have seen in my fucking lifetime. In my lifetime. The refs are ruining the fucking game. This is the worst I've seen in my lifetime. And the NFL's bullshit messages this year. It didn't hit the wire. That was an optical illusion. That wasn't a fucking face mask, even though we all saw it. And it's not just the Vikings. We're seeing the NFL come out with shit like we're dumb and we don't have eyes. And I feel like the refs and some of the shit the NFL did this year made it some of the worst football I have watched. So I promise you, when you hear Maddie's, this was not pre-planned.
That is so funny. But we're there is a little typo in my one. There is a keyword missing that you're seeing on your end in the show notes. But mine is, we're living in the highest standard of offensive football in the NFL. We're living at that high standard of offensive football in the NFL. I just had football, but it was meant to say offensive. And the reason is, though, for picking up on something you're saying there. So, yes, you're saying about the referees as well. But I also think we're very quick to like hate on things nowadays. It's something that we're just very quick to hate on. We've complained in the past 3 weeks about 3 10-7 games. Is it 3 10-7 games? Oh no, I'm saying that the Jets Broncos was 10-7, the Broncos Raiders was 10-7, and now the Packers Eagles was 10-7 as well, right? And we're complaining about those. But back in the day, even I remember football games where you were like you were winning it. There was games where it was like 9 points to 3 and stuff like that, and nobody would say it would be called a defensive tussle and an old school football defensive tussle and stuff like that. And it's just we're getting like everybody's so negative about these low scoring games because we're in such a thing of offensive football and football drama as well.
And if you go back when I was young, the Vikings used to make NFC championship games way more than they do now, right? Their whole fucking system was, we're going to score 17 points and punch you in the mouth and win this game.
Yeah, exactly. You couldn't do that now. Like you got it's not something that you can do. And whether that's down to better quarterback play, I would say the lower standard of quarterback play is much higher than the lower standard of quarterback play back in the day.
It's quarterback play because these kids are playing 7-on-7 and they're specializing younger and they've had 10,000 throws by the time they're 15. But it's also offenses have evolved. The rules have changed.
Offensive rule changes.
Yeah, like you cannot murder a guy over the middle anymore. And not to go off on a tangent, but it does remind me of the Vontae's perfect hit because that was just a normal hit in the NFL when I was growing up. And you tried to kill quarterbacks when you hit them. Like you wanted to knock them out of the game, right? But it does make me think, like, I know it's for a good reason because I do sit back every time I go, oh, the league's getting soft. I think about these guys' health, and I'm like, I think Antonio Brown might be in all the problems he's in. Yes, he has other issues, but I feel like he went off the rails even more after Devontae's perfect hit. Like, I think that changed that guy.
Yeah, and I do think it's like a thing of the world, you know, like the world is softer, It's like, yeah, because we're just getting better at shit. Like, you know, like things are just better. Like we don't have to not everything has to be as hard and it doesn't have to be a struggle. Like things don't have to be a struggle. And I also think like wide receivers are just that every team, most teams have like an X wide receiver now. Like back in the day, you used to be able to like just pick out the few teams that had these amazing wide receivers. And now like most teams have one. The tight end position is completely different. Like now, like back in the day where it was like Shannon Sharp, Gronk, Christian Gonzalez and Jason Witten, like these receiving tight ends, like only a few teams have them. Now everybody has them. The Rams completely dominated the 49ers because they're currently playing with 3 of these receiving tight ends who can also block and are freaks and like Brock Bowers and stuff like that as well.
He never gets the credit, but you guys, after the show or when you have time, go back and just Google Visanthe Shenko and how he changed the tight end position and never got any credit for it.
All right, I will. I don't know that name, so I'll go check it out. But you know, I think we just need to appreciate the times that we're in when we're complaining about like 10-7 games and stuff like that, and then look back to what we're doing. But Jay, I agree with you though. The refereeing, I wonder if the refereeing was always this bad or whether we noticed the refereeing because of the video technology that we've got now. Well, what do you think of that? Do you think it's just we notice bad refereeing, or like the media is now 24/7, so they need to complain about referees more to have something to put 24/7?
I truly think it's because there's emphasis on so many offensive rules now to protect guys. Yeah. And back when I was younger, hand fighting was still allowed in the NFL when you're going down the field. So I think there was less shit for the NFL refs to call. So they were less apt to be like spoke about unless it was just an egregiously bad play, but people accepted it because it wasn't that often. And if it was just pass interference. Pass interference was the call they fucked up. Otherwise, we didn't complain about the holdings as much because they let everybody get away with more holding. We didn't complain about the hand fighting because they let them get away with it. So I think they just regulate the game more, which makes more flags because they're protecting people, right? Like, and I do think that a lot of it comes down to, but they also want more points, so they change the rules because they want it to be more exciting. So when you give more rules, then it's more shit that has to be enforced. And when you have more shit on your plate, no matter what you're doing, it leads to more mistakes.
Yeah, and I do think like
and they fight technology. And they fight technology, and I hate that.
Yeah, they weirdly fight technology, but also have 60-year-old referees. That's what I don't understand.
We need retired players to ref these games. They need to train guys who played in the NFL for like 3-4 years and are still young.
Well, all go the other way. Or go the other way with it. Have trained referees, so when they're in the referees, they're at the peak of their powers. Like when you watch referees in European football, they're like players who were never really going to make it. So they go into refereeing, and they're like 30.
But they were players.
Years old.
That's the thing. They were players, and a lot of these refs.
But yeah, they were players in the same way of Pee Wee football. Like they.
Or they play, but see, you guys got so many levels of soccer, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
it's true. Not like that in the U.S. So you could be mid-level in soccer there and still be elite to a lot of the world. You understand the game. Like you played at a level where you understand the game, you understand the rules, and you understand it from a player's point of view. And I think that's a big part. If you can understand from the player's point of view, I think we get less dumb calls.
Like what they should be doing, I think, is going into colleges and saying, your NFL dreams don't have to end here. You can be a referee in the NFL. Like, go get those college players who are going to be car salesmen, like Alabama players who are going to be car salesmen.
Yeah, that's a high enough level of football, though, to understand. Like I'm saying, I agree with you. That's a great idea.
Yeah, because then you get people at the peak of their powers, and it should be the same in all jobs as well. I'm a big proponent of like experience doesn't mean you're better at something. Like just being better at something means you're better at something. You want people to come into refereeing when they're like 30, 35, 40, after spending their 20s going and getting experience in like the Canadian Football League or the European Football League and all of those kind of things. Like go get experience there in your 20s and then come to the NFL at 30 years old and stuff like that. I really think that the entire refereeing system in the NFL just needs a total overhaul with technology and a youth movement. And also this idea that they're part-time. I don't understand that, but I wonder if they're just part-time because the season's only so long. Is that
a lot of these guys are lawyers part-time? And doctors.
Yeah, see, I don't get that. Just because they make enough money to be full-time, but that's mental. But anyway, sorry, a whole refereeing overhaul is required. But Jay, let's move over to the NFL Week 11, where we're starting Thursday night football with an AFC East in-division game. Jay, an absolute barnstormer, a game that everybody's dying to watch play. The New England Patriots versus the New York Jets. What did Amazon do to fucking the NFL? That's what I want to know.
But they hate us. It's not even just Amazon. Like, bro, they know if they got us that they can just slide in shit games at half the time and we're just all going to tune in. But I overreacted last week to the NFL hates us because of the games they're giving us on prime time.
Yeah, it's like they know that the Brits are going to show up to any game no matter how shit it is. So give us the shittest games. They know that Americans are going to turn up to any game on a Thursday night no matter how shit it is. So we'll put the New England... But it's an AFC East in-division game. Do you know what's even the most fucked up thing about this? Nobody thought the Patriots were going to be good. Right. So it's like they were going to give us two shit teams at the start of the season as well. Like, they're lucky that the Patriots have got good. So at least there are some talking points about this game to go forward. Jay, the Patriots are 12.5-point favorites in this game. Can the Jets win another game with terrible offense? They beat the Browns last week with the Browns basically coughing up 14 points to start on special teams. And they still only won by, what was it? They still only won by 3 points.
Yes, and I'll tell you why. Yes, I'll tell you why they can win this game. Because the New York Jets can fuck up anything, and that's including the first overall pick.
Yeah, definitely. They can find a way out of a first overall pick. Justin Fields went 6 of 11 and 54 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Like, it's time. It's time. Like, the Browns have a really good defense, but you're an NFL quarterback. It's tough. Like, get off. I was off Justin Fields after his Broncos game. I was off him after his Broncos game.
I think a pig just flew by my house, and I think the temperature in hell just dropped. But I don't know.
I've broken the shackles. I've finally taken the courage to leave my abusive partner, Justin Fields. Like, I've finally made that step.
Like, Maddie, you got to get one of those Facebook things that says Mark safe from abusive relationship with Justin Fields.
Yeah, I think not like it's like my best friend has finally talked me into a place of confidence, and I finally believe in myself enough not to have to believe in Justin Fields. And I owe it all to guys like Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold to be able to prove to me that there are men who can be terrible quarterbacks because of where they're put, but not every person makes it back to it again. But yes, Justin Fields is terrible, and surely it's time to move off Justin Fields. But Jay, the offense is terrible. Surely against the New England Patriots offense, they can't continue in that vein and still win football games. Like, surely it was just the Browns shit in the bed in that one.
Yeah, I'll be fucking shocked if the Jets win this game. I just hate this point spread. I hate this point spread.
Yeah, 12.5 is rough, especially with the Jets, because the Jets seem to just, as you say, have weird things that happen in their quest to fuck up the first overall pick, or like manage to keep Justin Fields in the job instead of moving over. Like, I'm baffled that they didn't try and just do something at the trade deadline to get in a different QB to Justin Fields or Tyrod Taylor. You know, like, there was different options that they could have gone for there. Like get Kirk Cousins in. You know, like, because even if you're drafting like a new guy. And just to add to this, Jay, Garrett Wilson is now on IR as well following the week. So they've also lost their best wide receiver, which is also going to be a real struggle here. Who the hell is Christian Gonzalez going to cover at this point? Because they've got a lockdown corner with no one to lock down, which will be interesting as well, the Patriots.
Oh, this just in from the NFL. To make this game fair, the Patriots have to play 10 on defense.
Yeah, they have to. Then Christian Gonzalez can only come on as a super player every now and again, you know, and he's only allowed to cover the running back coming out of the backfield. That's the only place.
No, he cannot cover Breece Hall. I need Breece Hall to get some points.
They're only decent player. But Jay, the other thing out of this is, did the Jets, because actually as a whole team, taking their offensive, well, actually, because Breece Hall had a good game and the offensive line wasn't terrible either. Like, outside of Justin Fields in the pass game, the Jets team as a whole actually did have a decent game against the Browns. Like, special teams is part of the team. They scored 14 points on special teams. They held the Browns to 20. Did they get kind of a morale boost last week that we kind of said, I'm not sure the Jets are getting this. I think the Jets are throwing in the towel. Are the Jets getting a morale boost here?
Well, I think they did a little bit last week, but they also won despite the fact they should have lost. Is that like it? Both teams tried to lose that game. That game was like it almost feels like the Jets lost by winning. They both were trying to lose so badly. You know what I mean? I don't think they have a chance, though, to win this game against the Patriots because they're just a better team. But again, a division game, weird shit happens. The Jets can fuck up the first-round pick. Like, it's that way. Everything in me is telling me to take the Patriots in the 12.5, but I fucking hate that.
Yeah, and I mean, we got killed on the Bills against the Dolphins last week. What was the other 9.5 point spread? I picked the Raiders. You picked the Broncos in that 9.5 point spread last week. The Lions came in over the Commanders, but yeah, the other two big spreads last week, they didn't come in. And the other thing is, Jay, do you trust the 12.5 points to be covered in a blowout on Thursday Night Football, because Thursday Night Football's been tricky for those big point spreads.
Yeah, and
Broncos last week
it's rough going on. It's rough going on 4 days, right? Like these guys have just been beat up. People don't understand. A lot of these guys talk about how they're not even walking normally until like Friday or Saturday, and you're having them play on Thursday.
Yeah, and I'm just looking back through some of these big point spreads. Like the Bills had a 12.5 point spread on Thursday and didn't cover. The Eagles had an 8.5 point spread on the first game of the season. Which obviously doesn't really count to that, but they didn't cover on the 8.5 either. The Rams had an 8.5 point spread and didn't cover against the 49ers. The Eagles had a 7 point spread on the Thursday night against the Giants and didn't cover. Then there's some smaller point spreads there. The Ravens did cover on a 7.5 against the Dolphins, but then last week the Broncos didn't cover on a 9.5. So all those big point spreads on Thursday Night Football has not been a cover, and this is the second bit. This is the joint biggest Thursday Night Football spread that we've seen of the season. It's in division, and the Jets are a weird football team, and the Patriots are a bit of a weird football team as well because they play amazing passing offense with Stephon Diggs is their best wide receiver, and it's not 3 years ago, so two weird teams here. But Jay, 12.5 points. I don't think we need to delve too deeply into the game, but 12.5 points. Who have you got in this one?
Give me the fucking Patriots.
Yeah, I'll give you the Patriots and that one at 12.5. Am I going to do this?
Are you taking Justin Fields? Are you back in an abusive relationship with Justin Fields? Let me see.
It's not Justin Fields. It's not Justin Fields that I'm backing. It's Breece Hall. Nah, after the Patriots found their run game, I think they can get out to a 14-point lead and they can hold it there because they actually have a run game. So give me the Patriots as well. Shit, 12.5 looks so huge. After I literally just ran through all the Thursday Night Football covers that haven't made it, and 12.5 is the biggest, the joint biggest, and still. But anyway, the Jets played a really hard game against the Browns, and have loads of players, but seemingly out injured and on the injury report as well. Jay, we also get to have another European game here, this time in Spain, the first NFL game in Spain. And Jay, at the start of the season, this looked like a doozy. This was the one that I wanted to go see. The Steelers versus the Vikings, that was one I wanted to go see in Ireland. That would have been great. But the Dolphins versus the Commanders was the one that popped out to me because, one, Madrid is fucking amazing. Any Americans that next season, if they have a game in Madrid again, if your team is playing in Madrid, pick the Madrid game. Madrid is an amazing city. Spain is an amazing country, and it's dirt cheap. You can fly out there and then you can stay there and travel around after the game. Every region in Spain is so different. You can see so much. So it's the game that I really want to go to, and I'm going to really try and go next week. But Jay, unfortunately, both of these teams are really struggling in the Miami Dolphins and the Washington Commanders. The Dolphins are 2.5-point favorites in this one. Jay, can the Washington Commanders defense actually stop anyone? It looked like they were running offense against air last week, the Detroit Lions.
I mean, at times they show that they can play solid defense. Not great, none of that. Not great defense, but solid. I'm not so much worried about Miami's air attack. I'm worried about does HN just chomp them alive on the ground.
Yeah, I agree with that. I really do think HN has just a huge chance of going off in this game. I think he'll easily be in again with a chance of getting our MVP of the week. That the Commanders bottom 10 rush defense in yards per carry. I think they're bottom 5 in yards on the season with 1,344 yards on the season in run defense. It's horrific, and it's the part of the game that the Dolphins can do. And also the Dolphins got a bit of life out of the Tua and Jalen Waddle connection as well, and with Lattimore out as well. Obviously, everybody will point to Jaden Daniels being out as being the big issue for the Commanders, but for me, it's the defense, right?
No, I think it's Jaden Daniels myself because I think he can take pressure off of defense by running the offense in a way where they eat some of the clock, they give him time to breathe, but I don't think that lets the defense off the hook at all. Like the defense is the problem, but I think Jaden Daniels being out exacerbates the problem.
Yeah, I obviously think that Jaden Daniels being out doesn't help the problem. The Commanders had like every time they were able to go for it on fourth down with Jaden Daniels, like you had a feeling they'll make this. So they obviously keep that defense off the field. But God, like that run defense is atrocious. Like because it played decent at the start of the season before the injuries, and now it looks pretty bad as well. Jay, on the Commanders, like we've spoken about the Dolphins a lot, but on the Commanders, what do we actually want to see from the Commanders for the rest of the season? I think Jaden Daniels seems to might be coming back. Like the dislocation wasn't as bad as first thought.
Yeah, I guess there's no structural damage, so that's a good thing, and it was a clean dislocation. So it's all about letting the ligaments and stuff just, calm down and the swelling go down until he can pain manage that thing. I don't know. At this point, do you almost just like rest him longer than you need to? I'm not saying the whole season, but like you just rest him as long until he's close to 100%, and you just try to get better in the little areas you can, and then you just got to attack the offseason to fix that defense.
Yeah, and it's got to be to be honest, I'd be so tempted to, if I was them, I'd be so tempted to just leave Jaden Daniels out because, look, Marcus Mariota isn't playing badly. Like he's not playing badly for a backup quarterback coming in. Like he's not playing horrendously. I know it's the NFL, so you're trying to win every single game, but maybe wheel Jaden Daniels back out on the Week 18 game to get a bit of a burst back into the franchise. If he comes back out on Week 18, looks amazing, then going into the next season, the fans are all excited and everything. But Jay, things are shit in Washington right now.
Yes, but it's also hard to get your season ticket holders to renew their season tickets if your stars aren't playing.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I mean, yeah, that's true. I always forget about that, but things are just shit.
No, because it shouldn't be run that way, but it is. Like that's the thing. Like when you're thinking about just the betterment of the team or the betterment of the player, that shit shouldn't come into involve. But once you go back to this as a business, then it's like, yeah, you can throw all the right things to do out the window.
Yeah, and there is something worth like putting your best star out when things are shit in Washington right now. For the people who live in Washington, things are shit because most of them have government jobs, and the government has only just opened up after the lockdown.
It still hasn't opened up, right?
Yeah, it got signed, and it might be opening up for a short-term deal and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're just waiting on another vote. It will open up. It's just not opened up yet, right? That's the thing.
So and it's all shit, and people are getting laid off, and it's just you don't know what your stadium's called. You don't know if you're going to be allowed to build a new one. Like you don't know this, you don't know that. Like you're having a bit of a shit time of it just in general in Washington. So it is good to have your starting quarterback up there.
You boo somebody so loudly that nobody can hear them. Okay. Anyway, sorry, Maddie. So we have the Dolphins are favored by 2.5. Does that shock you at all that they're favored?
No, for me, it doesn't shock me at all that they're favored because of that total mismatch on the run game. Devon Achane against this Washington Commanders run game. So it doesn't shock me that they're favored even a little bit. I also think, I don't know why, for some reason, the Miami Dolphins feel like a Spanish team to me. Like, and I don't know whether it's kind of like the Cuban influence.
I was just going to ask. I wonder if it's because of the Miami being so much Cuban.
I feel like there will be a lot more Miami Dolphins with very little ability to back this up, but I feel like there'll be a lot more Miami Dolphin fans in Spain than Washington Commanders fans. And I think that'll have a big effect. We saw it had a big effect in Ireland where Dublin was just coated out by the Steelers. And then the Vikings have it in London, where there seems to be a lot of Vikings fans as well. But we see on these traveling games, it does have a big effect. And the things that you need to travel is a good defense, which the Commanders don't have. And you need a good run game, which the Miami Dolphins do have. But Jay, I wonder if this game is going to be a really good game because of how poor both teams are in certain areas. Do you think, like, normally when you have these two poor teams going together, you kind of go, oh, this is going to, I think the spread could be not the spread, the over-under on this game could be huge.
See, and I got this bad feeling that we're going to get Denver Jets.
Oh, just some total dross.
Yeah, but I do agree with you about Achane, and that's why I am taking the Dolphins, which I didn't think I'd be saying the rest of this season. So that is a shocker to me in itself.
Yeah, Jay, I'm also taking the Dolphins in this one. Let's see if they get mentioned another time on this podcast in our final segment, which is our Week 11 best bets. Jay, I got back up to 500. I had a 3-0 week last week, so that's exciting. Jay, you also went 2-1 to get within a game of a 500 as well. So we're doing okay on the best bets. But let's have a look at these best bets. Jay, what is your first Week 11 best bet?
1 second, I'm pulling this up and my phone is being slow as shit. All right. Okay. Where'd you go? All right. Give me San Francisco -3.5 over the Cardinals. The Cardinals are just shit, and San Francisco will figure out a way to win. And 3-0 in a game when you already think a team's going to win, right? So just give me the 3. Yeah. And I feel like at worst, I get a push out of this game.
Yeah, I've got the 49ers at 3 on the spreadsheet. I was going to pick it. The 49ers have been a little up and down for my liking, and the Cardinals are the same, can be a little up and down. But yeah, they're my 4th best bet. If we did 4, the 49ers would be on there.
All right, so my next best bet is Seattle +3 at the Rams.
Yeah, Jay, I've just realized that the 49ers are my 3rd best bet. They're not my 4th, because Seattle would be my 3rd, actually. Would be my 4th, sorry. But yeah, I like that one. Jay, that's a bit of a big game to be putting a best bet on, especially as an underdog.
I think Seattle's going to win, and I think Seattle's the better team. I really do. And I think Sam Darnold's playing at an MVP level. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba's balling out. I think I drove home why I think their running game is better than their numbers state last week, because it's pure running back rushing numbers. There's no quarterback runs that are adding to or inflating those. And I think they're playing good defense. I think McDonald's got them playing well. And I think they're the best team in that division right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that Seattle are the best team in the NFC going into this game. I think that Jackson Smith and Jigba connection. The Rams do have this great 3 tight end sets that they're playing that's so difficult to defend, especially when you then add their sets when it's not 3 tight ends, it's Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. I think that's got the hallmarks of a great football game, but I could really see the Seahawks winning it, so I would take the 3 in that one as well. Jay, what's your final best bet of Week 11?
This team, I think, is probably the best in the NFL, but I'm not mad at you for saying the Seahawks, because I would argue they were second, so that's just here or there. Give me Detroit +2.5. They're going to beat Philly at home. Philly does not have the secondary to keep up with the Lions, in my opinion. The Lions have Jahmyr Gibbs. They have Williams. They can smack you in the mouth. They got smash and dash, or however you want to put it. And I think the Lions have a good enough defense to hold the Lion, I think the Lions have a good enough defense to make sure Philly doesn't blow them out. If you don't blow out the Lions, I think they figure out a way to beat you in the end, probably with a St. Brown huge catch in the end of the game at the last drive to win it for them, because that seems what could happen in these close games. But I also could see the Lions blowing them out, and there's no way I could see the Eagles blowing them out.
Jay, betting underdogs on big games here. Yeah, I I agree with the logic. The thing that scares me with the Eagles is they seem to just find a fucking
as you
way
go
to win,
through
right?
as you go through the rest of those point spreads, tell me what looks better, because that was what I was thinking. And you might pick a game or two, but there ain't much that looks better there. There are some point spreads where I look at the game and I go, yeah, that's the point spread.
I think we've had a couple of weeks where the point spreads they've looked so favorable. Like last week was not a good week in our just normal bets, but we lost out on quite a few by like half a point or whatever. So the point spreads were clearly very good by Vegas. But I think we've had a couple of weeks.
You pick this, but like, what are you going to pick? The Chiefs at -3.5 or the Broncos at +3? And that's a crazy game to try to guess to me. And then I looked at another game, and what game was it? I looked at the Panther game in Atlanta, and I'm like, I have no fucking clue who can win that game.
Or like Steelers-Bengals at like 5.5. It's like the Bengals just handled the Steelers the last time they played, but the Steelers got handily beat last week. Or like the Bills versus the Buccaneers. I nearly went Buccaneers 5.5, but you never know what Bills team's going to show up. You never know how injured the Bucs are going into it. Like I feel like I would probably pick the Buccaneers there. The Bucs were around my 5th best bet in that one, I think. But Jay, what I've gone for is I'm with you with the 49ers at -3. I've also, Jay, gone for the Dolphins at -2.5 up against the Commanders. I have put the Dolphins in a best bet, which I really didn't think that
I'm never putting an international game as a best bet. It's too hard to pick, but I'm with you. Right out. Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah, it's just the A-Chan, like compared to that Commanders, like run game and defense travels, and the Commanders a mismatch on both of those. And then Jay, my other best bet outside of that 49ers and the Dolphins is the Chargers at -3 going up against the Jaguars. And I'll tell you why. It's because the
Jags are going to win.
The Jaguars get zero pass rush, and that's been the problem for the Chargers when Joel has been out is the pass rush. But the Jags get zero pass rush, so I'll take the Chargers in that one at 3.
Tune in Sunday while I'll break down why I think the Jaguars win that game.
I'm excited to get another debate about the Jags. I think the Jags have been our most debated.
Well, it's more of an indictment. It's more of an indictment on the Chargers, but stay tuned.
Do you know what? Probably those two going up against each other, they are probably our two most debated teams so far this season, the Chargers and the Jaguars. And
the two quarterbacks who get the most pass for not doing shit because they're talented.
Yeah, and they look good, most importantly. They're aesthetically good quarterbacks.
Yeah, they look like your all-American quarterback, too, where Mac Jones looks like the fucking dude who just got off work at the at the mill, and Brock Purdy looks like the dude who was just like ushering kids across as a crossing guard.
Or like Davis Mills looks like he's a car salesman, but comes out in the same thing as Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, like we have those guys, and that's the way the NFL is shaped up. But yeah, guys, tune in for us on Sunday where we go through every single game in that Sunday window, and we tell you what we will bet. We preview all the games. And look, Sunday shows, they're all just completely full of adverts. The NFL shows on Sunday are completely full of adverts. The most you'll get in ours is 2 adverts. You'll get basically advert-free previews up until close to kickoff from the halftime of the European game. So come have a look at us and make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and put the bell on so you get reminded when we're going live on Sunday.
All right. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.